Hey, it's April 25th, 2025, and it has been a crazy week for the stock market. The S&P 500 has went over by 5%, Google has jumped by 7%, and Tesla is doing fantastic as well. With tariffs that are finally getting kind of like a fix to them, the stock market looks like it's recovering very well. This is going to be a 5-minute recap on this week's information on the stock market and what you can do to secure your future. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get right into it. So, how did the stock market grow 5% this week? Pretty much this week has been fantastic in terms of tariffs. So, Donald Trump has said that tariffs are not going to be as big as everybody thinks. He said that tariff talks are happening very well with the countries that he's speaking to. He's speaking to India, Canada, Mexico, China, all of these fun countries. And because of this, the stock market grew pretty well. The Dow Jones went up by 2.5% this week. The Nasdaq's up 2.5% this week as well, and the S&P 500 is all as 5% as of this video. So this is fantastic. Now, there's still a lot of volatility in the market because Donald Trump said he was going to fire the chairman of the pretty much of the people who decide if interest rates should be dropped or lowered. Now, this is something that maybe he can or cannot do. And so based on this information, the stock market still might have a volatile week next week, but so far it's doing pretty well. Now, China, another really bad portion is China, which is at 145% tariffs right now, has said there's no talks to lower tariffs for states unless all of the tariffs are gone. So the other countries look like they're doing pretty well with this tariff talk with Donald Trump. However, it doesn't look like China is in the same boat as that. In other news, Google and a couple other companies have released earnings and they have done fantastic for their tech giants, and that is what's going to be driving up the stock market. In the next few weeks, there's also a couple of stocks giving out their news. So today we're going to talk about the big three. Now, the first tech giant on this list is Google. Google had a fantastic Q1 to this year. Google is making almost $90 billion in revenue, which is up 12% at the same time last year. That is fantastic, which means their AI business, their Google business, their clouding business, all their softwares, everything is doing fantastic. I think a lot of people thought that Google's search engine was going to die out compared to the use of AI. I was not one of these people. I thought that Google was going to implement something very well. Now it looks like Google is going fantastic in it. Their search business went up by 10%, which is fantastic as well. Despite this, however, if we look at another company like Tesla, which is up 9% as of this video today, they almost lost 71% profit. That is crazy. So much profit was lost. However, you got to remember, Tesla is a big tech company that focuses on the future. So I am still heavily invested in Tesla, and I'm buying Tesla as its stock falls because I think it is a pretty good buying opportunity for myself. However, I wouldn't recommend anybody else to unless you obviously like volatility. But Tesla's been working on a lot of stuff over the last few weeks, last few years, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come out very well during the process. Their self-driving cars are doing fantastic. They're not beating Waymo, Google's service of self-driving cars, which is growing even faster. However, Tesla cars, if you've ever driven one, you know that Tesla puts very good pride into what they do, and I really do think they're going to come out on top on this. Another company that also gave earnings was Intel. Now, Intel pretty much stayed stagnant. This was the first quarter that their new CEO was in charge. And you know what? Honestly, I know a lot of people are hating on it. I actually think this is pretty good. Intel was losing a lot of money for a very long period of time. So them just to stay stagnant is very good in my opinion, especially since there's only been one quarter of the new CEO that was in charge. Now, if you actually look at their stock's stagnant this year, while Nvidia and some of the other even bigger GPU and CPU companies are actually falling. But so they're actually beating them in terms of their yearly performance. Now, Intel is something I've still not invested in. I hope that they could turn it around because they are obviously a big company. I know a lot of the USA is putting a lot of tech into building these products back home, so I do think they have a very good source of revenue and a very good market that they can infiltrate if they can make their product good. But that is the question, if they can make their product good. Now, we always like to end off this show with a question. What can you do to help you gain wealth this week? Well, let me tell you something. Anybody who has been recently buying the dip of the S&P 500 is well off. The dip has consistently bounced back, and we are only down 6% for the year. So if you invested any amounts of money during this period of time, you're most likely going to be at the break even point, or if had made money. And if you were smart enough to buy any of the stocks like MSTR or MicroStrategies or any of the other stocks like Google during this time period, you've also made money. So what does this show us? Don't care about the volatility. Don't care about the tariff talks. Look at actual prize businesses. Buy the S&P 500, hold it forever. Very easy. Another thing you can also do is buy dividend paying stocks. While the volatility was pretty crazy, we were lucky that a lot of us did not have to sell our positions and we could hold our positions, hold our bags. However, think about for the people who rely on selling their stocks as their form of income. Now, how do you avoid that? You buy dividend stocks. I'm a big advocate of buying dividend stocks, buying dividend growth ETFs. And if you had bought any amounts of stocks in the last little bit, especially dividend stocks, you would have, although the price of everything kept falling, your dividends would not have fallen. No major company has announced any sort of dividend fallout or dividend takedowns. I've only seen dividends go up. So remember that, guys. And again, the most important thing is build an emergency fund. If you do not have your 3 to 6 months of savings, save it. You never know. Every 5 years, there's always some sort of downturn in some market. You are able to take advantage of that when you do have money to put in. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This is the first week of having a stock market review, but I'm going to make this a weekly activity, and hopefully I can win you guys as a subscriber. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next week.